If you have less than $100,000, the next 5 years decide whether you ever become rich. Not the next 20, the next 5. 60 months. Count them. Over those months, you will earn around $300,000. Rent, car payment, groceries, 2 vacations you needed to survive the job. At the end, you will be 5 years older, looking at the same number on the same screen. Somebody planned that number. It was not you. After tonight, you cannot unknow who set your clock. Machiavelli wrote for men whose clock was already running out. They budgeted 40 years for you. Spend 5 and take the rest. $300,000 is going to move through your hands over the next 60 months, and you will keep almost none of it. That is the number that should be keeping you awake. A man earning $60,000 a year is a man who will handle $250,000 in 5 years and hold nothing at the end of it except a car with 80,000 miles on it. Your salary is a payment plan, and you are current on it. The rat race charges you in a currency the bank cannot print. 40 years of your body. Your 20s, which cannot be repurchased. Your 30s, which are the only decade where energy and judgment sit in the same man. Retirement is the receipt they hand you for a life you already spent, and it arrives after your knees do. The Bureau of Labor Statistics measured how long the average American stays with one employer. Under 4 years. Your company already runs on a clock shorter than the one they sold you. The loyalty was always one-directional. You are serving a 40-year sentence inside a building that thinks in quarters. Here is the sentence that ruins the whole picture. Money begins the hour, ownership changes hands. Every hour after that is collection. Your entire financial life has been built on the opposite belief, that money is a reward for effort, tallied at the end, released slowly, once the tally is approved by a man with a clipboard. Nobody tallies. Somebody claims. The employee is paid for the hour that just ended. The owner is paid for hours he will never work again, by people he will never meet, in years he has not yet lived. Look at what that costs you in numbers, because the numbers are obscene. An employee bills $100 an hour. Very good money. 40 hours a week, and he clears $4,000. To double it, he has to find 80 hours in a week that has only 168, and he has to stay conscious for all of them. That is his ceiling, and it is welded shut. An owner sells a $20 a month product to 100 people. $2,000 a month. $24,000 a year, arriving while he sleeps on a holiday in a hospital bed. Now he sells the same thing to 1,000 people. $240,000 a year. The product did not change. The work did not multiply. Only the number of people paying for it did. That is the entire difference between the 2 lives, and it fits on a napkin. 2 days of freedom for 5 days of obedience. Men sign that trade for 40 years and never read it once. I know a man in Columbus who has been 3 years from quitting for 11 years. He built a spreadsheet. There is a tab in it named Freedom, and cell B14 says $8,000 a month. He updates it on Sunday nights. He has a Tahoe he never wanted, 41 months left on it, and a corner desk he waited 6 years to get. He refreshes his brokerage app in the parking lot before he walks inside every morning, like a man checking whether his sentence has been reduced. The spreadsheet is beautiful. It has never earned him $1. Name the year you would take back. Just the number. 1 word, 60 months, 60 decisions, 1 a month, and that is the entire budget. Most men make 4 of them and spend the other 56 defending the 4. The job, the house, the car, the woman who liked the job, the house and the car. Everything after that is maintenance on a cage you are still paying to keep clean. The 9 to 5 sentence does not feel like a sentence, because it is served in installments, and every installment is survivable. That is the design. A trap that hurt would be escaped. Machiavelli told the prince to do all his cruelty at once and to hand out his kindness slowly over years, so it would be tasted longer. Wealth obeys the same law. Compress the pain into one violent window. Stretch the collection across a lifetime. 60 months is the window. Here is what a man does with it. Months, 1 to 3. Kill the second thing. You do not have 2 things, you have 60 months. A 25-year-old bookkeeper in Cleveland sat in a room with his partners who were tired of his obsession with an oil refinery they considered a distraction from the produce business that paid the bills. They proposed a solution. Dissolve the partnership, auction the refinery, highest bid takes it. Bidding opened at $500. It climbed while the room went quiet. John D. Rockefeller bid $72,500, money he did not have, and walked out of the produce trade the same afternoon. 5 years later, he had built Standard Oil. Within a decade, he refined 9 barrels out of every 10 in America. He did not diversify his way there, he amputated. Do the arithmetic on your own hours. If you have 15 usable hours a week outside your job, 60 months gives you roughly 3,900 hours. That is one real business. Split it across 2, and you own 2 half-built things worth nothing, and a man too tired to fix either. Half of a business is a hobby with a logo. Keep the job if the job feeds you. A job is a fuel line. But every hour you actually own points at one thing that can be owned, sold, licensed, or scaled. 1. Name the thing you would have to kill. 1 word. Say it. Killing the second thing buys you hours. Hours do not compound. The next move decides whether those hours ever pay you twice. Months 3 to 9. Take points, never a paycheck. A fee closes the transaction. Points keep it open forever. An Armenian negotiator with no rigs, no wells, and no oil field of his own assembled the syndicate that carved up the petroleum of Mesopotamia between the empires and the oil majors. Kalusta Gulbenkian wrote himself into paperwork. The powerful men were too busy to read line by line. He took 5%, not a fee. 5% of the oil of a nation in perpetuity, without touching a drill. They called him Mr. 5%, and for the rest of his life, 1/20th of a country's output arrived at his door while he sat in Paris buying paintings. He died one of the richest men on earth. Fees end. Points bleed forever. You will never own 5% of Iraq. You can own 5% of a dentist in Ohio. Watch how that works. A dental practice spends $8,000 a month on advertising and gets it half wrong. You run it for him, for $1,000 a month, plus 5% of the revenue those ads produce. The ads bring in $60,000 a month in treatment. Your 5% is $3,000. Your total is $4,000 a month from one dentist. Now run 10 of them. $40,000 a month, and the ceiling moves every time one of your clients has a good quarter. The man charging a flat $6,000 a month for the same work earns more on day 1 and is still charging $6,000 in year 4, while his client buys a lake house with money your contract would have shared. Economists studying the top 1/10 of 1% of American earners found the same mechanism in the modern data. The overwhelming share of income at that altitude traces back to ownership of private businesses rather than wages. The men above you are paid twice, once for the work, and forever for the claim. Discount the cash. Take the points, equity, revenue share, royalties, a slice of the machine you built. Cash pays once. A claim pays while you sleep, and it keeps paying long after you are bored of the thing. Points are a claim on a future somebody else controls. The next move takes the asset itself, before it even exists. Month 6 to 18. Get paid in the asset. Cash is what they hand you to keep the thing that matters. An archduke in Tyrol was rich in silver and poor in money. His mountains were full of ore, and his court was full of debt. Jakob Fugger, a weaver's son from Augsburg, lent him the cash and wrote the repayment terms in metal. Silver delivered to Fugger at a price Fugger set, before an ounce came out of the mountain. The Archduke got his money. Fugger got the output of a mine he never dug, at a price the market never touched. Within a generation, the Fuggers held the silver and copper of Central Europe, and when a Habsburg needed an emperor's crown bought, the money came from Augsburg. The emperor wore the crown. Fugger owned the emperor. Debt makes you a servant. Debt repaid in ore makes you the landlord of the mountain. Here is the version that fits your week. A brand offers you $10,000 to build and run their store. Take $3,000, and 8% of everything it sells for the next 3 years. The store does $40,000 a month. Your 8% is $3,200 a month, $38,000 a year from a build you did once. You just converted a $10,000 invoice into a $100,000 asset, and the brand thanked you for the discount. Take the inventory. Take the software. Take the traffic, the code, the shelf space, the list of buyers. Take the thing that produces, and let the other man keep the money that gets spent on a kitchen. Fugger set a price on metal still sitting in the dark. The next figure did it to an entire city while it was on its knees. Wall Street would not give Hetty Green a desk. So she took a stool at the counter of the Chemical National Bank and did her arithmetic there, in a black dress worn to a shine, with her bond certificates in a trunk and her lunch in her pocket. She lived in cheap rooms across the river while she moved sums that could have bought the buildings the men were sitting in. She read every prospectus. She bought when men were selling their houses. And while Wall Street levered itself to the ceiling, she sat in cash and short-term paper and waited. Then the panic came. Banks froze. Trust companies collapsed. The city of New York, the largest city in America, ran out of money and could not borrow it. They came to her. She wrote the check. She died the richest woman in America, and every man who laughed at the woman on the stool had spent his best years borrowing from people like her. Panic is a discount window that only opens for the liquid, which brings us to the man who bought a fleet out of a graveyard. Months 12 to 24. Buy what the crowd is finished with speed is cheapest second-hand. Shipping was a corpse. Freighters sat rusting at anchor with no cargo and no buyers, and the Canadian National Railway wanted 6 of them gone. A Greek tobacco trader named Aristotle Onassis bought them for $20,000 each, ships that had cost around $2 million apiece to build. Everyone who understood shipping knew he was buying scrap. When trade came back, he was the man holding the tonnage nobody else had bothered to keep alive. And that fleet became the base of the largest private shipping empire on the water. The crowd sells you years at the price of scrap and calls it a favor. You will never buy a freighter. Look at what you can buy. A newsletter with 11,000 subscribers, making $1,200 a month, owned by a man who is bored and wants out. He asks $30,000. It pays for itself in 25 months, and then it is an income line you did not spend 3 years building. Or a software product with 90 paying users, or a channel with a dead upload schedule and a live audience, or a local business with a retiring owner and no heir. Every one of those is time that has already been served by somebody else. Buying it is the only legal way to skip the queue. This video will be cut once. It will still be working for me in 5 years. The question worth your attention is which of your hours will still be working then? Cheap assets can be taken from you. The next move makes you the thing the market cannot go around. Year 2 to 3. Own the tool, not the lottery ticket. In the diamond fields at Kimberley, the diggers dug and the pits filled with water. Thousands of men were down in the holes chasing stones, and every one of them was drowning in the same problem. Young Cecil Rhodes did not dig. He rented them the steam pumps that emptied the water out of the claims. He took their money while they gambled with their backs. Then he used it to buy the claims of the men who broke, at the price of a man who has decided to go home. He swallowed the field and founded De Beers, and every digger who rented his pumps had been working for him the whole time without knowing it. The rush is a payroll, and you can stand on either side of it. Count the men in your market who are digging. 500 people chasing the same trend, all of them missing the same boring tool. Sell it to 200 of them at $49 a month, and you are collecting $9,800 a month from a gold rush without owning a shovel. When half of them quit, buy what they built for the price of their exhaustion. The digger's upside is a jackpot. The pump owner's upside is a payroll, collected from 1,000 men who each believe they are 1 week from hitting. Tools pay while the rush lasts. The next move pays whether the rush lives or dies. Year 3 to 4. Stand where the money moves fastest. There is a kid in a Harvard dormitory who cannot get anyone on a trading floor to return his call. So Ken Griffin bolts a satellite dish to the roof of the dorm to pull live market prices into his room, and starts trading convertible bonds against the market, with a few $100,000 raised from people who should have known better. Then the market falls apart in a single day. His positions are hedged short. The crash pays him. Money finds him because the results are undeniable, and at 22 he opens Citadel, a firm that today handles an enormous share of the stock trading done in America every day. His edge was a location. Position beats effort on every clock. A new platform with cheap distribution is a crash in reverse. A window where attention costs almost nothing, and nobody senior has arrived yet. On an old platform, you pay $20 to put your message in front of 1,000 people. In the first 18 months of a new one, you pay $2, and sometimes you pay nothing at all. Same message, same man. 10 times the reach because he moved. When that window opens, you move that week, not next quarter. Volatility is the compression engine of a 5-year plan, and it does not send invitations. It arrives as a crash, a new platform, a law that changes, a technology that suddenly costs 1/100th of what it cost last year. Those are the only moments when the price of entry collapses, and most men spend all of them waiting for conditions to feel safe. Speed makes you money. It also makes you a target. The last move decides who pays whom. Year 4 to 5. Make them pay you to stop by. Year 5, your most valuable asset, is your ability to destroy another man's margin. Cornelius Vanderbilt understood this before anyone wrote it down. When rivals held a shipping route, he did not petition them. He put his own boats on their water and cut the fare until the route bled, until the arithmetic on their books became unbearable. Then he named his price to leave. His competitors paid him a monthly sum to stay off the route, and he took money paid to him for doing nothing at all and bought railroads with it. He died the richest man in America, holding the thing everyone else needed to use. The last payment a market makes is the one for your absence. You will feel this in year 4. You will have something that works, an audience, a product, a margin, and slower men will suddenly want to talk. Some will want to buy you. Some will want to license you. Some will want you gone. Every one of those conversations is a payment for the years you compressed. A business clearing $8,000 a month sells for somewhere between $200,000 and $400,000. 5 years of moves, 1 wire transfer. Take the check that buys you more time and more control. Refuse the check that buys you a car and puts you back on a leash with better upholstery. All of it is worthless until a clock starts. Start it tonight. Write today's date. Add 60 months. That date does not move for a wedding, a promotion, or a bad quarter. Then do 3 things before Sunday. Kill the second thing. Say it out loud to someone, so going back costs you. Write 1 sentence naming the asset you will own by month 60 and put it where you see it every morning. Then take the next piece of work you are offered and ask for points instead of the full fee. 48 hours, no course, no plan, no motivation. Most men will do none of it, and by Wednesday they will be 3 years from quitting again. Now the clock turns around and looks at you. Go back 5 years in your head. 1 job change, 1 lease, a holiday you barely remember. It does not feel long, and it is gone. So answer the only question in this video. What do you own today that you did not own 5 years ago? Not what you earn. Earnings are rented. Ownership is the only word on the exam. A product, a property, a percentage, a list, a company. Something with your name on the paper that keeps producing on a morning when you decide to stay in bed. If the answer is nothing, then those 5 years were spent deliberately by somebody else on his plan, and he collected the value. You were the fuel line. Retirement is a rebate. They keep the 4 decades and hand back the money once your body has finished being useful to them. Every man cheering at the sheet cake is celebrating the final payment on a debt he never agreed to take out. Golden years. The phrase was invented by the people selling you the twilight, to keep you from looking at the noon. You have a folder on your laptop. It might be called ideas or projects or something with a year in the name. There are 11 documents inside. 1 was opened last spring. You bought the domain. $12, renewed twice. The logo is done. The page is beautiful. The business does not exist. You have paid $36 to feel like a man who started something. That folder is a monument to the version of you who was going to begin next month. He has been going to begin for a long time. He is very consistent. And you already know how this ends, because you have watched it end. There is a man at your job, 12 years older, who says the same things you say. He also had ideas. He also had a folder. He is patient and reasonable, and he explains to the new hires that these things take time. He is what waiting looks like once it has finished with a man. You will sit in his chair one day. The only question is, who is sitting in it? They budgeted 40 years for you. Spend 5 and take the rest. So choose while the pulse is still up. 60 months from tonight, you are either a man who owns something that pays him while he sleeps, or a man in a slightly better version of the same cage with a nicer chair, explaining to a younger man that it takes time. That man is being decided this month, not someday, this month. If the clock became real while you were listening, Put one word in the comments. 60. The men who scroll past it have already answered the question a different way. Rockefeller, Gulbenkian, Fugger, Green, Onassis, Rhodes, Griffin, Vanderbilt. Not one of them was handed a decade of patience. Every one of them took a window and closed it behind him. Most men will agree with every word of this and do nothing before Sunday, and that agreement is exactly how they stay where they are. Informed, nodding, still on the 40-year plan. If you intend to be a different man in 60 months, subscribe and let the next one find you while the clock is still running. The rest will keep watching wealth videos the way other men watch football, as spectators of a game they will never play. This is what the grey eminence has always been. No motivation. Clocks, mechanics, and consequences. 60 months. Start counting them tonight, or spend the next 40 years being counted. They budgeted 40 years for you. Spend 5 and take the rest.